Here we have the new Cingular 8525, manufactured by HTC and sometimes referred to as the TyTN. That's capital T-Y, capital T, capital N. This is a Windows Mobile 5.0 operating system device. It's a 3G smartphone on the Cingular network, and it's available right now only through Cingular and Vodafone. The only difference between the full TyTN and the Vodafone version versus the Cingular is up in this corner on those models is a small camera that looks back at the user and will provide video conferencing functionality. This is an option that Cingular apparently wanted removed and taken out. Of course, the phone also comes in an option through Cingular. Doesn't have a phone on the back either for those people who work in high security environments and are not allowed to bring phones into their workplace. The camera, as a matter of fact, is a 2 megapixel camera with a slider here for doing macro or micro shooting, a small flash, which is actually a little more than a moderately bright LED. This is the self-portrait mirror, which functions reasonably well. On the other side, there are several function keys that you can look at. Starting with the left-hand side, this is one of two selector items that when the unit is powered on and the menu option comes at the bottom of the screen on the left or on the right, you click on either of these to select that option. The second button down is the Windows Start button, which is familiar to most Windows users. The next button down is the telephone function button to either answer phone calls, bring the phone up onto the main display to make a phone call, and that also is on the right hand side the telephone off button. Above that is an OK button and the other selector switch for displayed menu items. The center is a thumb navigation wheel, sort of. Not really a wheel, you don't rub your hand across it. It's a clickable 4-directional wheel and a selecting button in the center. On the side, there is a actual wheel, not just a jog wheel here, for running up and down and selecting items in the menus. Then there's also a button here that's another OK button. This button here will eventually be a push-to-talk capability button for the upcoming push-to-talk capability that Cingular will roll out for this camera, or for this phone, pardon me. And here is the micro SD card. Very, very small. This is a 1 gigabyte SD card, as a matter of fact. They're coming out with 2 gigabyte cards in the near future if they haven't already hit the stores. I forgot, there's the device is on, I forgot to point out one of the items that is on the front of the camera. Right here is this panel where you can see the earpieces for the phone. The left-hand side of that has a mailbox icon, and the right-hand side has an Internet Explorer icon. Both of these items are in fact what happens when you select onto either of these regions. These are clickable buttons. For instance, there's my email popped up, or I can go to Internet Explorer and pull up that. The other set of buttons that reside on the camera, or on the phone, I keep saying camera, but I mean phone. Power button. This is an option to pull up a set of functions that allow you to turn on the Wi-Fi, the telephone, the Bluetooth, or any other connection that you need to. And this is the camera button. In addition to that, this is a touchscreen model of the phone, or a phone. It comes with a collapsible, telescoping stylus that shrinks down actually when it goes into the phone, and otherwise just stores right here handily on the right hand side. Connections on the bottom, infrared, USB, batteries contained in the back. Still haven't gotten a gist of what the battery charge time is. Behind here is the SIM card from Cingular. You need an upgraded 3G SIM card in order for that to be usable. On the menu items that are available here, this is the Today screen. I'm going to change the brightness here and maybe make this a little bit easier to view. But if you're familiar with the Windows mobile operating system, you'll get a sense very quickly of how this operates and really be able to see one where that doesn't really change the thing too terribly much. You get a chance to see how this thing works. Beyond that, the biggest feature versus my Trio that I used to have is the keyboard real estate. Now, a keyboard is accessible, a software keyboard is accessible, I should say, via the center set of buttons here. And there's the software keyboard. I'll knock this down even one more item lower. That actually just might turn off the... Yeah, it turns off. So this is the lowest setting for the backlight. It's also a way of minding and keeping the battery life up as long as you can. But okay, so I'm going to press the start button. I'm going to go to the Today menu, which is the basic set of information that you get at any time when you're trying to view or just turning on the phone. And from there, I'm going to select down to my messaging. Here it says I have some messages here. This is a message that I wrote to some friends about the TyTN and some cool services from that was written about in the New York Times, free cell phone services. So if I want to reply, there's these two buttons. This will be a reply over here, or I can simply use the slider function, bring up the key real estate, or the keypad, which has a lot of real estate on it, press reply, and then proceed to type in my message. Now, it's going to be out of focus, I'm sure. But here we go, just gibberish I'm throwing in here. The keys are much better suited for this type of typing than, say, it was on the Trio, which those little small nubby keys are very, very difficult to navigate. The phone itself, when held up against the Trio, is approximately the same size as a Trio 650. Neither this nor the 680 or the upcoming 750 have the nubbin antenna. I do have 3G service down here where I am right now. That has actually been functioning fairly well. It is pretty slick and pretty fast. But the other connection option that I really am excited about is the wireless, meaning Wi-Fi connection that I can get onto hotspots or inside my house. I want to just turn the phone off and get a very, very quick connection to run some applications or get some information. I can do that. And that's a brief preview of what this little baby